When Odysseus finishes the story of his adventures, the Phaeacians ply him with gifts before ferrying him back to Ithaca. Once there, Odysseus is visited by Athena, who disguises him as a beggar and warns him not to tell anyone of his return. Athena also instructs Odysseus to seek out his old swineherd Eumaeus, who tells the disguised Odysseus of the suitors' plan to ambush Telemachus upon his return to Ithaca. Odysseus is touched by Eumaeus' loyalty as the swineherd recounts the story of his service under Laertes, Odysseus' father. Meanwhile, Athena urges Telemachus to return, warning him of the ambush and instructing him to seek out Eumaeus. Telemachus obeys, visiting Eumaeus' hut. The swineherd embraces him and introduces him to his beggar companion, Odysseus. Telemachus asks Eumaeus to inform Penelope and Laertes of his safe return, but warns him to keep it from the suitors. When Eumaeus leaves, Athena instructs Odysseus to reveal his identity to his son, who cries and embraces his long-lost father. Reunited, father and son hatch a plan to defeat the suitors. Tomorrow, Telemachus will return to the palace, and Eumaeus will follow with Odysseus, again disguised as a beggar. Odysseus will endure the suitors' abuses, distracting them while Telemachus hides the suitors' weapons. Odysseus instructs Telemachus to keep their plan a secret from Eumaeus and Penelope as a test of loyalty. Eumaeus informs Penelope of her son's return, baffling the suitors, who aren't sure how the boy evaded their notice. They double down on their pledge to kill Telemachus, but consider consulting the gods first. The next day, Telemachus reunites with Penelope, lying that Odysseus is still captive on Calypso's island. However, Theoclymenus, a prophet from Telemachus' ship, insists that Odysseus is on the island somewhere. Penelope doesn't believe him. Meanwhile, Eumaeus heads to the palace with the disguised Odysseus, whose old dog recognizes his master, then passes away. Odysseus begs the suitors for bread, and while most oblige, a cruel suitor named Antinous rebukes him, hitting Odysseus with a stool. Separately, Odysseus and Penelope call on the gods to punish Antinous, and Odysseus warns the suitors that the master of the house is bound to return soon. Penelope comes down from her room, confiding in Telemachus that she misses Odysseus terribly. Although she recalls the instructions her husband gave her before he departed for Troy to remarry once Telemachus has grown up, she finds the suitors despicable. Odysseus is glad to hear this, but so is Antinous, who insists the suitors will not leave until Penelope marries one of them. Once the suitors are asleep, Odysseus and Telemachus stow the suitors' weapons as planned. At Penelope's request, Odysseus visits her room, still disguised as a beggar. He evades her questions about his origins, supplying only enough details to evoke her beloved Odysseus' memory. Penelope cries, confiding in the beggar that she believes her husband to be dead. But he swears to her that Odysseus is alive. When Euryclea, one of Penelope's maids, recognizes Odysseus' scar while washing his feet, Odysseus swears the old woman to secrecy. The next day, Penelope devises a contest. She will marry the suitor who can use Odysseus' bow to shoot an arrow through 12 axe heads. After a feast at which the suitors continue to abuse Odysseus and threaten Telemachus, the men take turns attempting the feat and fail. Outside, Odysseus reveals his identity to Eumaeus and Philodeus, his old cowherd, instructing them to lock the door when the time comes. Odysseus asks for the bow, and Penelope insists the beggar be allowed to compete, promising him gifts if he succeeds. Telemachus sends Penelope to her room, while Philodeus locks the palace's gates. To the suitor's shock, Odysseus strings the bow and smoothly shoots the arrow through all 12 axe heads. Stunned, the suitors scramble to defend themselves from Odysseus, who kills Antinous before revealing his identity. Odysseus challenges the suitors to fight back, despite their pleas to spare them. With the help of Eumaeus, Phaeacians, and Telemachus, Odysseus slaughters the suitors while Athena keeps watch. He then forces 12 of Penelope's maids who were loyal to the suitors to clean the hall of their blood before ultimately having them hanged. Finally, Euryclea informs Penelope of Odysseus's victory over the suitors. But Penelope is sure that a god, not Odysseus, has killed the suitors and decides to test him. When Odysseus reveals intimate knowledge of his own bed, Penelope embraces him, and the couple spends the night recounting their adventures while apart. The next day, Odysseus visits his elderly father, Laertes. At first, Odysseus gives his father another false identity, but Laertes' grief over Odysseus compels the hero to reveal himself. Laertes embraces his long-lost son. Soon, a mob of the suitors' relatives arrives, threatening revenge. But Laertes strikes down Antinous' father shortly before Athena arrives, ordering peace.